really not up to talking to anyone tonight.
Yeah.
All I want to do is just find my seat and enjoy the meeting.
I will say...
I know
Do you want me to
Jehovah will
pause?
understand if I just...
Joanne, I am so glad.
So already, I would just like to say that I have identified with this woman, this
Oh,
sister.
yeah. They're going to do so many different little vignettes, and it's good that they started on this one. Very, very relatable.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether you were ever in a congregation.
Like, there are days where, like, you know, you worked all day, and you're just, like, coming in, and, like, it's not even... I don't want to...
It's no one's fault that you're
yeah.
feeling that way, but you're just so fed up with people.
Because it's, you know, working a full-time job, having coworkers, you have to be, like, on for so much of the day. And then, like, you don't want people to think you're, like, rude. So you also have to be on when you're in the Kingdom Hall. Otherwise, people, like, will think, like, you really have, like, a problem kind of
And I've been personally more aware of this recently, but... it's very different for men and women as well. Like, for me, like, if I look grumpy, people just go like, ugh. But, like, if a woman isn't always smiling, people think that she's sick, you know?
Yeah.
The same way with, like, if you don't put on makeup, people think like, oh, are you ill? And it's
way
like...
more serious.
Yeah, and there's, like, an expectation. So, for her to not be totally up to talking to people or whatever... is very relatable, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. So let's see. So someone stopped her. Her goal was to not be spoken to, fly under the radar.
I mean, she did walk right up to this lady, so.
Yeah.
Glad to see you. I could really use your help with preparing for my next Bible study with Lori.
Well, actually, you know, I was trying to just get to my...
Okay, so let me tell you.
Wow. She didn't even hear
No,
me.
she didn't.
I don't need this right now.
No,
This is
you really
really
don't.
trying my patience. But how many times was Jesus interrupted when he was tired? Love is patient and kind.
You want to pause that real
Let me
quick?
listen closely to what she has
Well,
to
you
say.
just missed a whole tale she told.
You did.
While you were monologuing to yourself.
Well, but I will
I mean,
say,
granted,
though,
she wasn't listening to you, but that, like, if you...
two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah,
kind
like,
of
I
thing.
feel like once you realize that you need to be patient and kind,
I
which,
think-
by the way, shouldn't have to be your responsibility, in my opinion, right? Like, if you're having a bad day, you should just let the other person know, like, I'm sorry, we should really talk about this another time. I am just not
Yeah,
in,
because
you
at
know.
a certain point, like, you'll be
I'm not
more
gonna be able-
helpful if you're in more of a position to
Exactly.
do so. But I guess I guess there's nothing wrong with, like, hearing her out. Because,
Right.
like...
But you gotta actually hear her out. You can't just be monologuing in your head and then go like, oh, let me check into this conversation at a later date. Like, no, we're having the conversation right now. She's still talking.
Yeah, I think that is... And also because her... which I think... Because
This
her
is an
facial
unfortunate freeze frame.
expressions... Yeah. Because her facial expressions are going along with her monologue more than what is being said. It's like, did you hear what the issue was?
Yeah, like, this lady's excitedly telling her, like, I've got a handle on this, this, and this, but I really need help with this. And this lady's going, like, along the way
You
with her
look
face.
really concerned right now.
Yeah, I need to look miserable, but then I need to look contemplative. But now I'm happy. And then contemplative again.
But I will say, though, that is really a testament to how uninterested this woman is and who she's speaking to.
That's true.
Because she has not registered.
The other lady Joanne could have walked away and she would have still kept going.
She's excited and she's been waiting for her to show up to the meeting.
Oh.
Which that is something that happens. There are some times where something will happen. I mean, that's not even unusual. That's just people being friends, where like you're waiting for someone in particular to come and you just sort of beeline it to them, which is what happened here.
This is interesting to me because she's saying that's when I remembered what you told me, and I remember this not being a particularly crazy piece of insight here.
That's when I remember what you told me.
Really? What did I say?
Remember, you said always be patient and kind.
I also want to say,
I like that phrase.
Yeah, always be patient and kind is such a small piece of advice. Like, I don't know how.
I mean, I think
like how would you even associate that with a person unless no one's told you to be kind?
Well, with a Bible study, if like I'm assuming they've worked together a lot. Joanne probably had a hand in this sister getting a Bible study.
Okay.
And doing that.
Can you define that for me a little bit? Because
What?
I've done Bible studies with people who are not Jehovah's Witnesses.
So like a Bible study with a Jehovah's Witness, at least at the beginning, you know, when Jehovah's Witnesses come to your door, it's just a conversation about the Bible, and like that's, you can sort of state where you're
a real
at.
hey, how you doing kind of thing.
Yeah. But once it's, and so I don't even, you can start counting it as a Bible study whenever you're going to meet with someone.
You're studying the Bible.
But the way that they're talking, I would assume at this point they've been studying for a while. They might be approaching the point where she'd be inviting this person to meetings soon.
Right. So this is the lady who Joanne is talking to. I didn't catch her name.
Yeah, I think maybe Lauren. Is there a Lauren? I don't know why that name came up.
So this Joanne is aware that the other lady has a Bible study ongoing with someone who is not currently affiliated with the Kingdom Hall.
Yes.
Okay.
So she's asked.
Because like I've worked with other people. I've worked with like I'm a therapist. I've talked to people, believers who, you know, like a couple of years ago, that was a while ago. My ex-girlfriend, my girlfriend at the time, went and did a Bible study with our old coworker Joel. Great guy, both of them great people, and they knew I didn't believe, but they still asked me to come along, in case I wanted to, you know, just so I wouldn't feel left out. And I only went once, but I went there and I had my copy of the Bible with me, and I just read along, and we basically just did like some scriptural analysis.
Right.
You know, like none of us are historians, but we all talking about what we got from it, and I was like, this is interesting, you know?
Yeah, I would say that there is, like, compared to, I mean, there's like a set, like, study publication that witnesses use, but then, like...
And that would guide you to the moral lessons that the Watchtower would want you to get from it.
Yeah, like, that'll help you understand, like, just like our interpretation, or I guess Jehovah's Witnesses' interpretation of the Bible.
Old habits.
And, the royal we.
The royal we? I don't think that's exactly what it was.
But then, you know, like, so it's more sort of doctrine, and then at a certain point, it's more like, I don't know what you call, like, principles to live by, like the rule, like kind of like the rules to blend in kind of a thing, I guess, for lack of a better word. But there's also, if your study brings up something in particular, you might bring like a different Watchtower awake that's more specific. But in this case, because she said, always be patient and kind, what I'm assuming or what I'm taking away from it might be that she brought up something like an issue that maybe for whatever reason this study had an issue with. For example, like they really, like the Day of the Dead is a really big thing for them, but witnesses don't celebrate that, and like their study might be having, as an example, not that but might be having a hard time like understanding that sort of thing. So then being patient and kind would be good, because you don't want to lose the Bible study over this. You want to hope they change their mind on this kind of thing. And sometimes, I never had a Bible study that progressed to that point. But I'm assuming you could just revisit it and keep working with the person, unless they want to stop that.
Yeah. All right.
So I kindly pointed out the key words of scripture, and then after asking her the question again, I patiently waited for her to give me an answer, which, by the way, is not the easiest thing for me to do. But just when I thought that I couldn't wait any longer, she gave me the right answer. She got the point. I was so excited. But now I'm kind of wondering, does she really believe what she said? And if not, how am I going to help her to see the truth of the matter? And that's where I need your help, Joanne. I've been trying to look for articles. I can't find any.
This is, I think, an interesting point, because she is doing the right thing, I think. If you're trying to convince somebody of something,
you want
to seek out resources. If your approach isn't working, then seek out alternative resources to try to bolster your case. But what I find interesting is that the way she phrased it was, she asked a question, the person gave the wrong answer, she guided them to words in scripture, and then asked the same question again, and then the person said the right answer, but even she doesn't necessarily believe that the person believes it. And that seems really weird to me, because, like, if you're coaxing an answer out of somebody, that's not convincing them really of anything.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's why I would say, like, I would want to know more about, like, what it was. Like, is it, like, a personal lifestyle change that this person need to make that they just gave the right answer to? Or is it, like, a doctrinal thing that they just, like, if they've always grown up believing in hell and now, like, so, okay, the dead are conscious of nothing at all, so hell doesn't exist. But... and that's the right answer, but, like, what do they believe? And I don't really think... I mean, I don't really even remember if they're going... I don't think we're going to get any...
we don't get any detail.
We just see the situation, and the point of this was that she didn't want to talk, but I guess it's a good thing she did listen to this woman, is the moral here. But you can't really police if someone believes what you're saying.
Yeah,
so
you can't police anything anybody thinks.
So I don't think... I mean, I guess this is a reasonable concern to have, but I don't really think there could be any counsel to offer, because, like, there are multiple watchtowers and things that basically say Jehovah chooses who comes to know him, kind of a thing. So you can only really just make sure that they get it and hope for the best.
Yeah. And that's why, like, usually when people are lost and they, people like to come to me for advice.
Yeah.
And my general advice is always something along the lines of try to live consistently with your own values. Because, like, most of us, especially, like, if I'm talking to a friend, I know, like, I wouldn't associate with somebody who I think held deeply reprehensible values.
Right.
Right? So racists or people who think murder is cool. I'm not cool with that, right?
Yeah.
I'm deeply evil things, I'm like, no thanks. But, like, for that reason, I'm usually giving advice to somebody who I know to be, or I think to be, a fairly decent person. And my advice is always try to live within your own moral code, and try to live within your own, what you would prescribe to others. Because if you're living by my moral code, you and I may disagree on some minutia down the line about whether you should give money to this person or whatever, little things. But, like, if you're living consistently with yourself, at the very least you'll find peace with your own principles. Right? And so, like, I can't police your thoughts. I can't police your beliefs. I don't want to police your beliefs. You believe what you believe. And I don't think it's right for any human to try to stand over other people's beliefs in a one-to-one perspective or in a much larger, So, I don't know. Like, in this case, she's trying to guide someone to a new belief, and that's fine because you treat the other person with respect. You treat them as an equal because we're all equal, And I say that, like, you can believe we're all equal in the eyes of God. You could also think we're all just equal, right? Like, you can take or leave God. It doesn't have to be an atheist or a theist position.
Right, exactly.
So, anyways.
Joanne, can you please help me with finding an article on how to reason with a Bible student?
Angela, of course. I would be glad to help you. Could we get together maybe tomorrow afternoon?
Thank you so
She's
much,
really
Joanne, for being willing to help
it.
me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I guess one thing I would say to that is, like, none of these people, like, are actors.
Or actors, yeah.